Joe Biden breaks his silence after President Trump orders investigation into who ran the White House while old Joe was in office. That's our top story for today at the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. Welcome back to the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. This is our daily show where we cover the top stories of the past 24 hours from thegatewaypundit.com website. My name's Sarah Stock, filling in for Elijah Schaefer, and I'm joined by Michael Hennessy.
Hey, happy to be here. Hopefully we can finally figure out who was actually running the White House. We all know it wasn't Joe.
Exactly. Well, let's look into this top story for today. Joe Biden has officially responded to President Trump launching an investigation into who ran the White House while old Joe was in office. And what Biden said next should be an insult to everyone's intelligence. As a Gateway Pundit reported, Trump directed his White House counsel, David Warrington, in consultation with the Attorney General Pam Bondi, to investigate whether certain individuals conspired to deceive the public about Biden's mental state and unconstitutionally exercise the authorities and responsibilities of the president. Essentially, was Biden actually running the White House? I don't really think so. So what did Biden respond to these accusations? He released a statement on late Wednesday night saying that the investigation by Trump was a major distraction and that he made all of the decisions. I made the decisions about the pardons, executive orders, legislation, and proclamations. Any suggestion that I didn't is ridiculous and false, Biden said. Well, what do you think, Michael?
Well, I don't think that Joe Biden was doing it himself. I know there was an interview they had recently, or not an interview, an investigation, where David Hodge actually came out and said it was by, Jill Biden who was actually had somebody, pulling the strings on him. I know there was even questions about if Obama was involved because of the one classic line he gave where he went ahead and said that, he wishes he had another president and he was in the basement and he could just make all the decisions from there. So was Joe running the country? I don't believe so. I think he spent more time on vacation and eating I think it was chocolate chip ice cream. So don't think so too much.
Yeah, I think we all know, especially now that it looks like he may have been diagnosed with cancer. Probably not a very recent thing. I think he's been struggling with his health, whether that be physical or mental, for quite a few years now, as it's been obvious to everyone. And they've just been gaslighting us this whole time. And someone else has been running our country that's not him. Our next story. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs vetoes bill that would prevent China from buying land near U.S. military bases. Wow, this lady is pretty evil, in my opinion. Arizona's Democrat Governor Katie Hobbs has vetoed a bill that would prevent the Chinese Communist Party from buying land near strategic assets such as military bases. Whose side is this woman on? It really seems like Democrats are hell-bent on doing everything they can to weaken the United States and threaten our national security. They can't even agree that China shouldn't be able to buy American land near our defense infrastructure. What the heck is going on here? I mean, this is just ridiculous. I mean, what possible argument can you make for this, that we should let a foreign country, which is essentially our economic enemy, to buy land near our military bases? I mean, do you think she's being paid off or something? I don't even understand what the argument is for this.
Well, I always say follow the money, but this is very concerning. This is something that's been going on for a while. They've been purchasing land by Air Force bases all across the country, just different areas. I know Trump actually touched on this one time. He had an interview with Dr. Phil where he kind of dived into it, saying he wouldn't allow it anymore. But the fact that Katie Hobbs is allowing this to continue is just crazy. I know recently, too, they just busted 2 people that came from China who were bringing some kind of, I think it was like either a parasite or something that can actually destroy crops. So I don't think any foreign country should be close to our military bases. And also, I don't think that we should be giving up all our farmland, something that we all, rely on, something that we're dependent on, to a foreign entity, because then they have full control. So this is very concerning. I hope that we, take this a lot more serious. Unfortunately, the previous administration didn't. Obviously, Katie Hobbs, she's bought and sold, in my opinion, and something has to be done.
Yeah, I think this is the type of thing that absolutely warrants an investigation into Katie Hobbs. But before we go on to our next story, I want to talk to you guys about Van Man. I recently came across this company because of our friend Mike. This awesome brand's free of fluoride and toxic chemicals, completely rejecting Big Pharma, and focuses on more holistic and natural sources for their products, like their tallow and honey balm. Right here, it beats any moisturizer that I've personally ever used and lasts forever. It makes your skin feel great. If you guys have an issue with dry skin, sometimes I do, and you don't want to use these other companies' products, I have all types of chemicals that you can't even pronounce, I'd recommend this stuff right here. Van Man's Tallow and Honey Balm, which also uses essential oils, so it smells great. The stuff is amazing. Recently, we got in touch with Van Man because now we're in a new city, new studio, new look to the show, everything. We want to start working with products that we've actually tried personally and that we actually really believe in. And Van Man is one of those brands. So go to vanman.shop/Elijah and use promo code Elijah to get 10% off. That's vanman.shop/OFFENSIVE. I promise when you guys use this stuff, you won't ever go back to using any other lotion or moisturizer. Plus, they have tons of other products like tooth powder to replace that fluoridated toothpaste, sunblock without all the toxic chemicals, and magnesium deodorant. The stuff is the real deal. So again, go to vanman.shop/Elijah and use promo code Elijah, ELIJAH, to get 10% off. Thanks again to Van Man for sponsoring the show. Our next story, just in. Far-left Worcester City Councilwoman has been charged with assaulting an officer after inciting mob to block ICE from arresting illegal alien accused of attacking pregnant woman. Wow, these people are great. Worcester City Councilwoman I can't even say that last name, was charged with assaulting an officer after inciting a mob to block ICE officers from arresting an illegal alien accused of attacking a pregnant woman. Wow, they're really picking their battles here. As previously reported, the police patrol officer union called for an ethics investigation to City Councilwoman following a chaotic incident during an immigration and customs enforcement operation last Thursday. The union alleges that she incited a crowd and assaulted both local and federal law enforcement officers attempting to detain this illegal immigrant accused of violent crimes, including assault with a dangerous weapon and assault on a pregnant woman. Boston 25 News reported. Watch this video right here, and you can see exactly what this crazy lady does.
Hey, send me 7 or 8. I'm sorry. What authority?
Hey! Back up!
Guys, back up. Stay back.
Don't touch her.
Sir, back up. You're not obstructing.
I'm not obstructing. Protecting what you should be doing.
Back up.
Let go. Do not touch me. Do not touch it. Away from me. Touch me. Let go of me.
Let go of her.
The elected representative of this community. She's my
Guys, back up.
There are no charities in my station.
First woman and the baby.
You are not taking her. Yeah.
Go get in my car. No, go get in my car.
So my personal opinion, I think if this lady wants to hang on to this illegal immigrant and stop her from being deported, maybe she should just be deported too.
Yeah, no, I think so. You know, the crazy part is when you watch that video, they keep saying, well, she's an elected official. She's an elected official. Well, act like one. You know, we're seeing this time and time again. We got judges sneaking illegal immigrants out the back door anytime there's a court case. We have judges blocking Trump from trying to pass bills that can actually expel these people from our country. But you have these deranged lunatics who just want to go ahead, make a scene. And the fact that this is someone who attacked a pregnant woman and they're still sitting there defending, this illegal immigrant who is just straight up, it's an invader into our country. It's sickening. And we're seeing it more time and time again. And I'm getting tired of these people. I don't know who they're connected to. Why, is their derangement that far? Is there Fort Enny, is George Soros, or whoever it may be? But regardless, this type of behavior should not be allowed. We should not be seeing this in our country, And as you mentioned, if she believes that she's so worried about the illegal, go with her. We don't need you here. So.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad that she is being charged. That is one good thing, because it's pretty clear she was obstructing justice in that video, getting in the way of these ICE agents trying to do their job. So at least we're seeing justice in some sense there. And hopefully these legal immigrants who are attacking pregnant women can just be deported too. Next, Chuck Schumer says that if the big, beautiful bill passes, we're all going to die. I laughed when I read this headline. This guy, a little bit crazy. Democrat drama queen Chuck Schumer is warning that if the big, beautiful bill passes, we're all going to die. Why are Democrat leaders so ridiculous and unserious people? Remember when net neutrality was going to kill us all? How about when we were told that we only have a few years left before we all die from climate change? It's always the same old story. This is why the Democrats are about as popular as pond scum of the moment, even with their own voters. Watch this video of Chuck Schumer. Personally, it made me laugh a little bit.
And we all know one thing. Donald Trump is just lying about the bill. Lying about the bill. Well, here's the "we are all going to die" act. And we all know one thing.
Well, we are all going to die. That's true. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that is... Yes, technically that's true. They like to take this to an extreme. It even reminds me when Joe Biden was trying to force the vaccination on us. We were supposed to have a severe winter of death, which never came. So, but yeah, these Democrats like to play on fear. They like to pull on your heartstrings, and they'll do anything to manipulate your emotions. So this way you fall into their policies. The big, beautiful bill does have things in it in our country that, for our country that will help us. I see that. There are some concerning things that are also in the bill. Obviously I don't agree with Chuck Schumer, but there are things as far as making sure that AI can't be regulated. It's going to be intertwined into our government. And the part that makes that scary for me is the fact is when you put AI in that type of control, who's creating the AI? Because when that system is made, whoever's teaching it how to think, what to do, it can be very biased. It can be just like ChatGPT. A lot of times I go on it. It's very liberal leaning. So there are questions about the big, beautiful bill that I do wonder about, that I do have trouble with. And I know Elon Musk has even come out and spoke against this bill. And in the same sense, I know there are good things. So it just kind of drives me nuts when these bills come out and everything has to be lumped into one. I feel like everything should just
That's the real problem. Yeah, 100%.
So.
Yeah, I like what you said about just the fact that these Democrats like to appeal to emotion. I've noticed that a lot myself. I think that's probably why most of their voters are either women or people with some kind of low impulse control or something like that. Because, yeah, I mean, think about, like you said, when they were telling us we're all going to die if we didn't take the vaccine. But not only that, remember when they were saying that January 6th was this horrible insurrection, and these are domestic terrorists that are going to overthrow the government. And even before that, we were being told for years that if you wear a MAGA hat, you're some kind of extremist. And even this past election cycle, they were telling people that abortion and birth control and contraceptives were going to be banned, which I'm not saying I have a problem with that, but that's just not really true.
Yeah.
And trying to fearmonger. And that's all they really do is just play on people's emotions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even with January 6th, they said it was the worst thing since Pearl Harbor. And I was there on January 6th. I was someone who actually received a presidential pardon. And what I did is I walked around and handed out cupcakes. I called them freedom cakes. So I don't think that was as bad as, and Pearl Harbor, 9/11. But yeah, they just play on emotion.
100%. That's why they appeal to women. And thankfully, on the Republican side, we have a few more men with a little bit more testosterone. But sadly, we are witnessing a generational decline. in men's testosterone levels due to lifestyle choices, diet, and exposure to environmental toxins. This decline can result in persistent fatigue, diminished strength, reduced libido, mood swings, and an overall loss of vitality, keeping you from feeling like your best self. Take control of your vitality with Man's Edge from Neutronics Labs. This right here, incredible. I wouldn't know because I am a woman, so I do not take it, but seems like everyone in the office does, and they've been loving it. This is the natural solution to support healthy testosterone levels. Man's Edge is more than just a standard booster. It combines powerful ingredients like fenugreek, IGF-1, NO2, and more to keep you feel your best. Studies show that fenugreek increases testosterone levels by up to 46%. Plus, unlike traditional powders and pills, Man's Edge offers up to 98% absorption, ensuring that you receive the full benefits of these clinically proven ingredients. Even Frank Stallone has made it part of his daily routine to stay on top of his game. Join Frank Stallone and thousands of men rediscovering their vitality daily with Man's Edge. Sign up for our auto-ship program today and save 50% on all of your orders. Reclaim your lost youth and energy. Visit the link below now or go to tboostnow.com. That's tboostnow.com. Use code Elijah or ELIJAH to save an additional 10% on your first order. Moving on to our last story of the day. George Clooney makes a grave prediction about MAGA. Oh, let's see what this absolute genius has to say. Anderson Cooper just aired a short segment from his interview with actor George Clooney, discussing his Broadway directorial debut, Good Night and Good Luck, a play about journalist Edward R. Murrow's confrontation with McCarthy-era fear-mongering. Here's him on Anderson Cooper. Incredible. The interview started with Anderson Cooper trying to paint Trump's first 136 days in his second term as the worst in America's history. A little bit dramatic. That was a claim so absurd that even Clooney couldn't bite on it. I can make an argument that we've had much worse times in our history, Clooney responded. Yeah, I could think maybe like World War II. What do you think is worse than Trump's administration, Michael?
Well, to the people with Trump derangement syndrome, probably nothing else is worse. And I'm tired of these Hollywood actors coming out and trying to tell us how we should think. I think that's a big reason people have drifted away from Hollywood, not just because of theatrics as far as trying to trick us into believing certain things, and propaganda is the word, sorry. The propaganda that they have, we're all sick and tired of it, and especially with people like George Clooney. George Clooney is somebody who came out, said Biden's great. He even got on stage with him and was promoting him at first. Then he came out and said, okay, there's a cognitive decline in Joe Biden. So, I don't think anything to them is worse, but Trump's actually great for our country.
Exactly. Well, we have a video here, so you can watch it for yourself.
Because a lot of people feel like in this room, probably who are here, feel that we are at our worst right now.
I can make an argument that we're not. I can make an argument that we've had much worse times in our history. 1968, every city in the United States was burning. There was a National Guard was surrounding the White House and the Capitol, and we'd lost Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy in the Tet Offensive.
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of worse times in our history. The conversation quickly shifted to how now is a scary time, quote unquote, to be in the news industry, at least according to Clooney. Yeah, maybe it is scary because maybe people aren't believing your lies anymore, and you might need to find a new job. Why? Because Trump is finally holding the media accountable for lying to the American public, like his $20 billion lawsuit alleging that 60 Minutes deceptively edited their Kamala Harris interview to favor Democrats, but Clooney classified Trump's actions as demagoguery. Okay, well, I think we all know that it was deceptively edited. This isn't exactly a baseless claim.
Yeah, no, they propped up Kamala the whole way. All the videos that they were putting out, as you just mentioned there, in 60 Minutes, everything was edited to try to make sure she looked great and that she had some kind of thought process that seemed intelligent, but she didn't, And it shows you how good Trump is as well. First off, that he had all the news media outlets lying, manipulating, changing the videos that were coming out, putting out stories about bloodbaths and everything else that were all hoaxes. And then Kamala Harris, who was being propped up, just shows you how bad she was, because even with the whole mainstream media behind her, she just fumbled the ball. So I'm glad that she's not in office, and I'm glad we have Trump right now.
Exactly. Well, our last clip we'll play is when Anderson Cooper asks George Clooney if he thinks that Trumpism will survive past this presidential term. Let's see what he has to say.
Do you think Trumpism lasts beyond this term?
Don't think so. I think it'd be very hard to do it. Remember this: Donald Trump is a celebrity. That's what he is. I mean, he's got he has a star on Hollywood Boulevard. I don't have a star on Hollywood Boulevard. I'm not lobbying for one. I'm just saying,
It seems like an oversight, by the way.
What's going on? He's a celebrity, and he's the president of the United States, and so he has been elected, duly elected. Fair deal. I'm not complaining about that. That's how it works. That's how this democracy works. But he's also a celebrity, and he is charming, and to the people who like him, they think he's funny. To a great many others, they don't. And so when he is finished, and he will be finished, they're going to have to go looking for someone who can deliver the message that he delivered with the same kind of charisma, and they don't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really agree with this. Personally, I think that Trumpism, it did kind of start, with a man with President Trump, with his, you could say charisma. I don't even know if charisma is necessarily the right word. He does have charisma, but it's almost with his authenticity. That's what I would say. And his willingness to say things that no one else was saying, to call out the system, all these things. That's kind of what defines Trumpism. So it is going to be hard to find a successor for him, but I think Trumpism has evolved to, it's less about Trump now and more about what you could just call MAGA. It's more about making America great again. It's more about nationalism, economic protectionism, sort of a more liberalized version of conservatism, tries to appeal to the big tent. What do you think, Michael? Will these sorts of ideologies be able to carry on after this term?
As far as Trump goes, trying to minimize it, saying he's just an actor, he has the walk of fame. He did a lot of things. He was also a successful businessman, and I think that he's been doing great by putting the country first. And as you mentioned, as far as Trump speaking up and trying to save the country, Trump did what a lot of us wanted to do. We used to be called the silent majority. We were staying silent. We were allowing liberals to walk all over us. We were told to, just keep our composure. And what did that do? It started to destroy our country. But we were lucky enough that Trump stepped up and he went ahead and wanted to actually build this country to make it a better place. And he took a lot of hits. I mean, the guy's lost a lot of money from it. I know he's not taking a paycheck as a president, so I don't think it's, him just trying to catch a free ride for collecting more money. He actually genuinely cares about this country. And people like George Clooney and the rest, they're just going to continuously berate him. They're going to continuously attack him. And, we see firsthand the changes he is making. And we know that if they stop getting in his way, this country is going to be a way better place. So
exactly. One thing about George Clooney is he has sort of been involved in the Democratic Party for a while. He'll go to their fundraisers and kind of speak on behalf of them. Of course, as many other Hollywood celebrities do. But it does kind of feel like in this interview, he is trying to come off as this very reasonable guy. He's trying to come across as, he's not super anti-MAGA or anything. He doesn't hate the MAGA people. He just doesn't really like Trump. But it's like, whatever, this is America. I don't know if you got that same vibe, but for me, it just makes me curious if he's ever going to run for some sort of office. This is something that my mom brought up at one point recently where she's like, I wonder if they're going to try to run George Clooney. So out of nowhere, she said that. And it kind of got me thinking. I was like, I do think they're going to try to start platforming people who do come across as more moderate, like George Clooney, even if they are actually far left when it comes to their ideology. Of course, we've seen Gavin Newsom try to shift in that direction to just try to be like this cool guy who's willing to sit down and chat with Charlie Kirk. And I'm just wondering if that's going to be the Democrats' new strategy. It seems like they kind of have to adopt it. What do you think?
Well, as far as actors, first off, it'd be irony because here he is talking about Trump like, okay, Trump's an actor and this is the only reason that he's in office. So, I mean, that would kind of take back all his comments. And I have heard things about, The Rock trying to run. You have Gavin Newsom, scumbag Gavin Newsom, who they say is going to run, which I don't think will happen. The American people can see right through him and how he's actually destroyed California. But as far as these actors are concerned, they all, honestly, in my opinion, they all just need to be quiet, shut their mouths, because the reason we go to movies, the reason we watch television is because we want to escape reality and we want to just for a little bit be immersed in whatever world that we're watching. And we don't want to sit here and be lectured by these people. The reason Trump stands out from a regular celebrity is because he's actually a great businessman, and the fact that he loves our country. I can't say the same for George Clooney. Anybody who backs the Democratic Party, I think that they don't love our country. I think that, they are either indoctrinated or paid off. So, and the good thing is whoever runs next, if the Democrats keep using the same playbook they have, we're just going to win again, because they have not learned their lesson. They're still pushing trans ideology. They're still pushing allowing illegal immigrants into our country. They have not learned from any of their mistakes. So keep it up, Democrats, and we're just going to keep winning.
Hopefully. I agree. Hopefully we'll win next time as well. If you guys liked this episode of the Gateway Pundits Week in Review, please head over to the gatewaypundit.com website, because you can read so many more amazing journalistic articles written by our Gateway Pundit editors. And also, you can get this amazing Gateway Pundit mug, which we use all the time in the office here. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sarah Stock. If you want to find me, you can follow me on X or on Instagram at Sarah C. Stock. You can also subscribe to my personal YouTube channel. It's just called Sarah Stock. And Michael, where can people find you?
I'd love for you to come check out my pages. I have one on X as well as Instagram. The name is snowflake_news. Just put out breaking stories each and every day. I try to put out 10 to 12 just to keep everybody up to date in the know. And facts over feelings.
Exactly. Well, thanks everyone for watching. This was the Gateway Pundits Week in Review.